Keith Douglas will be our next speaker. Keith is running for the Senate. He's had a track record of fighting for causes and standing up to governments at various levels. It's something to think about too. You know, we've talked about voting, and the Senate is a different thing. That is an area where we need to really concentrate effort, because if the Greens get the balance of power in the Senate, you've seen the newspapers of what they're going to do. I won't harp on about Keith. I'll let you do your own thing, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks very much. Well, unlike WWF and Pew, I'm just a one-man band, and it's my job as the #1 person on the Senate ticket for the Australian Fishing and Lifestyle Party to fight this cause. Now, the Australian Fishing and Lifestyle Party formed 8 years ago out of people like yourself, recreational fishermen, because they realised to have a voice they had to become political. Now, that being the case, we probably aren't your normal, usual polished politicians. We are just all average people with businesses, with an interest in fishing, an interest in the environment as well, and we're trying to reverse what is really policy madness. It's about the only way I can put it. Now, we can thank Family First for selling out the Coral Sea. Senator Fielding had the opportunity to block the Coral Sea being treated as a conservation zone, and the reason that conservation zones are brought in is if there is an imminent threat to the area. There is no and hasn't been any imminent threat to the Coral Sea. We currently take, on the average, 192 grams of fish per square kilometre per year. The statistics on what they regard as sustainable fishing of reefs is 4,000 kilos a year. So any idea that there's any form of threat on the coral reef is just rubbish. But this whole issue is not about science, it's not about the environment, it's about politics, and it's about political parties staying in power. Now, I respect the right for everybody to vote for who they want to vote for, and I respect that there will be people here who in the past have voted for the Labor Party. And unfortunately, because of the alliance between the Labor Party and the Greens, I have to ask you to do something this time round. If you are a loyal Labor supporter and Green supporter perhaps, not this time, please. For the sake of the seafood industry in Australia, for the sake of recreational fishermen, please consider how you vote very carefully. Now I'd like... Thank you. We have...
I'd like to let you know you're standing on the reef that was covered by a Liberal Country Party government 20 or 30...
Well, look, if you want to get on the speaker list, just have a talk to the lads here, but for the moment it's my turn to have a say, so I'll try and make the most of my 5 minutes. Now, I'd like you in particular to hear what Dr. Walter Stark has said, and this man knows more about marine science than probably anybody in the world, in my opinion. He has said there is no credible scientific evidence to suggest that marine parks are anything more than a hypothetical solution to a non-existent problem. Now, in the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to professional fishermen who go all the way up and down this coast, and I've asked them, is there a problem? And they tell me no. The guys that prawn off Mooloolaba are getting increased yields year by year. The guys that fish for abalone down the south of New South Wales are finding that in the no-take zones, they're getting covered with sea urchins, yet in the areas that are actually being looked after and being fished, they're finding that abalone recruitment is increasing from year to year. And I think Martin Bauman made the point. The problem is not in the water, it's on the land. And today, if anybody doesn't realise, as I didn't, because I was just like I was listening to the radio, today is Tree Day. So all those people, especially on the passionate green side that want to help what's going on in the marine environment, need to get along the riverbanks and the creeks and plant trees and stop the siltation and stop the runoff. Pollution going in, plastic going into the environment, runoff, pollution, they're the real problems for the marine environment, not the fishermen. Now, while people who aren't up with this problem might think, oh, that's good, we lock up these zones, it is not. What it will do is concentrate effort into smaller areas and put more load on those areas. The way we're doing it at the moment is sustainable and it works and it's not a problem. And you can talk to the professional guys, you can talk to the recreational guys, but everybody that I speak to that likes to go fishing, those people care about the environment like myself. And my running mate on this party is Dr. Michael Mansfield. He's worked for environmental issues in Cairns in the 80s. and I myself was the architect of the Springwood Environmental Park and worked with that and persuaded the Joe Bjelke-Petersen government to gazette it. So some idea that the Greenies have some sort of mandate to look after the environment is not right. All the people I speak to care about the environment, and what we're talking about here is caring about the environment. But today, well, unfortunately, you don't get anything done unless you get into politics, and that's what we've found. You know, we had to become political to get a voice. No, that's not right at all. I'll tell you who I'm a front for. I'm a front for the Cairns game fishing industry, because those guys will all be out of work if this policy goes through, and that's how serious it is. So that's the reason. Nobody likes politics, but I don't like politics, and I particularly don't like politicians who aren't truthful. But in this case, there is an issue. It's important. It has ramifications for everybody in Australia, and people have to vote very carefully on the 21st of August. Thank you.
Thanks very much. The next speaker we've got is